For
Yeah.
me, the worry is entirely with his mindset because I don't think he's all there. And I think
He didn't seem interested this weekend at all, did he? He just kind of was like, it's over.
next up, I think it's time to say goodbye to title number 5 for Max Verstappen. I think this is it. It's over.
Yeah, it's going to be very, 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 very hard for him, isn't it, to come back in any way here whatsoever. Like, I just don't see a way back.
It's done.
Because,
yeah,
like, unless it seems like the McLaren has only gotten quicker, first of all. So that, like, the idea of Red Bull actually physically catching up to them is, first of all, the problem. And then the other thing is, like, I just don't see a world in which Max could overcome that gap in points. It's 60 points now, right?
Yeah,
like, he would have
points.
but he'd need a faster car, basically.
That's the problem.
Like,
I think he can win the race in Silverstone, and I think he can win the race in Spa. These are the two races that he can and he should ideally win. For me, the worry is entirely with his mindset because I don't think he's all there. And I think
he didn't seem interested this weekend at all, did he? He just kind of was like, it's over.
Yeah.
You know?
And it's, I think I pinged you as well, right? That the vibes are off.
Yeah.
I think it, I might be completely off the market, but I think he's mentally checked out of 2025 for one reason or the other. Either he's already decided that he's moving to Mercedes, or he's thinking about it hard, or whatever it is. Because look, if you're trying to fight for a championship, there has to be a level of, you can say, commitment or something where you push the team or you try to send the right message to the team. And since Barcelona, I felt that Max Verstappen kind of threw in the towel. Where it's a bit like
even in Canada, he didn't seem to put George under much pressure at all. Like, like, I know the Mercedes was the quicker car in Canada, like, but it was close enough that while I don't think there's any way he's winning that race, I was expecting him to, at least for a first lap or two, to really pile pressure on George, which you would expect.
He kind of did, but
I think not to his usual, like, even at the start, like, not to his usual kind of, I'm going to just go for it here.
Yeah.
It was kind of like an acceptance of, second's the best I'm going to get this week. It very un-Max-like, and this weekend even more so. Like, I saw people tweeting like, oh, well, Jesus, I wouldn't want to be Antonelli in that car or whatever, like,
which car?
Max, when the two of them hit each other, when Antonelli hit Max, right? Antonelli was sitting in the car and people were joking like, oh, well, Antonelli's not going to want to get out of the car. But Max's body language, as soon as he got out, he wasn't furious. Like, he just, you could tell straight away he was just waiting to kind of talk to Antonelli, like, to make sure everything was all right. It wasn't like I'm going to kill this guy when he gets out. Now, maybe if it was George in the other car, would have been a different situation. But he didn't seem angry about it. He was just kind of like,
Even after qualifying, where the yellow flag basically cost him a front row or a second row.
Yeah.
It was, that was unfortunate. And look, I don't doubt his commitment when it comes to the race weekend, where he basically what the thought process that he has is he'll turn up to a race weekend, he'll try his hardest, and whatever comes. But the problem is when it is whatever comes, it means you're not targeting the best possible result.
Yeah.
And once you stop doing that, it shows. Because again, I've been covering the entire Red Bull situation since the start of the season, and one thing that has been there that has kind of rankled a bit, it's just the fact that even when Max wins a race or does well, while Christian Horner is bloody optimist and he is basically punching above his weight and saying that we are going to fight, we are going to put everything in place, we are going to fight for the title. You have Helmut Marko also doing the same thing, and then Max comes in and says, no, there's no title. And once that happens, it's deflating, and the entire team would feel that way when someone like a Max Verstappen says that no, the title is not on, and while they are working hard. And I think this is something, the biggest contrast for me was, I think you might have not seen it because that quote has aged poorly. There's this Austrian outlet where Horner gave an interview, It was a few hours before qualifying where he said that we are planning to make the McLaren fans cry on Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's
cry.
the quote that.
Well, maybe he did cry with laughter.
Yeah.
Perhaps.
And but it was not only
Tsunoda
that.
was losing to Alpines.
Jesus
at the back,
Christ! I mean, he also had a shitty race. But the thing is, if you listen to the interview and you look at the entire quotes, it's a man who's trying to go to war. I mean, I'm being very, very, you can say, descriptive on that sense. But he talks about the fact that, okay, we are bringing upgrades here. We are going to bring another upgrade in Silverstone and then another set in Spa. We have planned upgrades for the 15th and 16th race of the season. We are not going down without a fight. That was his entire thing. And then you have your lead driver come in and say, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And that's where the resonance is missing, I think. And again, look, the car is tough. It's not the fastest. It is 3/10 off. Everything is fine and everything is understandable. There's a basic thing when it comes to, okay, we're going to turn up every race. We're going to try and accumulate points, but at the same time, try and keep the hopes alive. The positivity is not there. And the reaction from Max this entire weekend was, who cares?
Yeah.
I win, great. I don't win, fine. I'm not winning the title. He's already thrown in the towel, and we are in 11th race of the season. There are 13 more races.
Yeah.
13 more races, and if somehow miraculously things change in terms of Red Bull has a better car or the Honda power unit improves or something, he's going to regret these races because maybe he'll feel, again, he will never say it publicly, but maybe he might feel that maybe I could have done more. Maybe the positive reinforcement should have been there. And I think it's maybe the end is near when it comes to the Red Bull and
maybe he's already made his decision.
Verstappen partnership.
You know,
maybe.
Yeah. Like at the end of the day, like I still think it's third place or lower. He has the exit clause, and I think he's probably realized like I can get out of here. You know,
look. If it comes to exit clauses, I think
it doesn't matter anyway, really.
Exactly.
You know?
That's what I was going to say. That
even Christian Horner said before.
Yeah.
What was it Christian Horner said before? Where he's like, you can't keep a bad marriage together, so it doesn't make any difference. Like if one wants to leave, it's just a question of how do we do this? Like it's not, we can't. It's not. There's no way to stop it. It's just
exactly.
It's just planning the procedure. You know, like,
and exactly. Yeah. I think the marriage. And this was the first time when I actually started thinking on these lines was last race in Canada, where you kind of sense that Max was non-committal when it comes to his future with Red Bull. At the same time, Toto, I think we talked about it a bit where when the whole Toto thing happened, Toto was not really committal when it comes to, criticizing Max. Or was it Yeah, it was Barcelona, sorry. Where Max basically rammed into George and Toto's like, you know what? This is the similar attitude that Ayrton Senna and Michael Schumacher used to have. What the fuck are you talking about here? This has nothing to do with it. But yeah, I think maybe it's done. And if it is done, I think Horner needs to wake up and smell the roses because it's time to plan for the future. And whoever it is, maybe give a call to Charles Leclerc, give a call to George Russell. I think he's not giving a call to George Russell because the amount of times they've shat on George, both Marco and Horner, I think well,
I mean, you say that, but like realistically, like if we're going back to 2021, could you ever see Max being with Mercedes? So things change quickly, like needs must,
Actually, I went through the quotes. Just out of curiosity, the 2021 quotes after every of those. Toto was always very.
Toto's not that guy, though, is he? He's not a Horner. He doesn't come out and like properly just kind of bash things, say what he's thinking, like he's always very kind of reserved in his remarks,
Seems like it because he did. I think maybe and I think that's what he says right now, that probably the Silverstone 2021, that's where he could have done better. But other than that, I think it seems that the relationship between the Wolves and the Verstappens was never that bad. But yeah, let's see.
Yeah.
I don't know. If you're Christian Horner in this situation, what's your play here? Because I see a future where Max is not
probably ensuring that the best people at Milton Keynes have pretty easy exit clauses that you can take to Endstone with you. That's probably what I'm doing if I'm Christian Horner. I'm probably calling up some Saudis and being like, "Hey, you want to help me build Endstone into something?" They'll have a Mercedes power unit next year. That'll piss Toto off.
I don't think he's going anywhere.
I don't think so either, but I think it's going to be a weird shotgun marriage style thing at Red Bull, because I feel like...
No, I mean, I don't think Horner is going anywhere.
Neither do I, but I think this is going to be an issue where what I said last week is if Max goes, then it's inevitable, like the clock starts running on Horner leaving, because the board is going to be kind of trying to get rid of him. And my mind has gone, I don't know if that's true now. I think maybe the board has looked at this and thought, fuck, if Horner goes and Max goes, we're screwed. Like the whole
done.
team, we're basically looking to sell the team at some point in the near future. Like
two teams.
Two teams, yeah. So I don't know, like maybe Horner does stick around and tries to buy the Red Bull team out from under the board at some point, but it's going to be a few years of pain regardless. Like it's going to be some problematic times, because you would imagine that if at this late stage, after winning the championship last year, it seemed like it was like, right, we've mustered everything together and we've gotten behind Max and he's won the championship, and Max has kind of once again proclaimed his love for the team, and like, right, we may have a bad 2025, but we'll stick together and we'll work through it. It seems like Max basically Max has kind of decided now he's leaving. That's what it looks like anyway. Maybe we'll be proven wrong on that, but that's what it looks like. And yeah, I just don't... I think the biggest issue Red Bull's going to have is, given that kind of resurgence last year and the planning and everything, the team has probably continued to develop, in the fastest way, which is, really crazy strong front end that only one driver can handle, and that's Max Verstappen. So there's a good chance that like Max leaves and their car next year has all of these bad traits still.
Do you think they'll have... I'm not entirely sure that's how they would have approached it, because I think
hopefully
in 2025,
because
in 2025 they were basically boxed into a corner. They can't build an entirely new car for 2024, 25.
It's too late.
Yeah. And for 2026 they've probably learned the lesson where they've gone about things in a way that, okay, Max, we are going to build a car which both drivers can actually extract something from.
A more balanced car.
It's about time. Yeah, it's about time you start adapting your driving style to it. Now, once that happens, I think if that is even in place, Red Bull is in for at least a year or two of pain when it comes to the Red Bull power.
It's hard to do that, yeah. I mean, we literally saw... Well, that, and also like we saw McLaren go from a very difficult car to drive to a more balanced one, and it took them a good 18 months or so of real pain to get through that phase.
Yeah.
And you would expect that, like, that's in a regulation set where you're already in it. You already have some understanding. This is going blind into a new one. So
yeah.
And without a guy like Newey who can kind of tell you, these are all the issues you're going to have doing that.
Yeah, because he's been there and done that.
Yeah, like Vache and Balbo, by the way, they got a lot of shit, but look, they've still built what was at a lot of races this year, the second fastest car, with their hands tied behind their back in terms of, we can't start from scratch again. So I think they should be given a lot of credit, but yeah, like Newey's the guy you want for...
Yeah, look, they should be given a lot of credit, and I think the people who know the sport, they give them credit. It's only honestly, the tribalistic fan base, and which is basically as fair weather as it gets, because the amount of abuse that Verstappen fans these days throw on Horner, I think it's just a flashback.
It's literally Cult LH again.
Yeah,
like,
it's Cult LH doing it to Toto Wolff, and it's the same nonsense right now. Anyways, that's an entirely different thing. I think for me, Horner needs to call both George and Charles and maybe try to
Charles should be the guy he goes for, I think, Absolutely, yeah. Charles should be the guy he goes for.
Sell them as bigger plan, as whatever it is called,
Yeah.
Just be the best salesman possible, because look, even if they think that Arvid Lindblad is the future for them, he's 17 and he's still going to need at least 3 to 4 years to reach the potential.
Yeah.
Even it took
Charles Leclerc is, I mean, like realistically, if you're looking at it, Charles Leclerc is the guy to go for, because at the end of the day, you know, if they're like, if Charles looks at it and goes, well, Red Bull's not expected to have a good power unit next year. It's like, sure, but neither is Ferrari. And which team do I trust to turn things around? Probably Red Bull.
The approach, right?
you know, like,
I think that's where it's going. But again, there has been zero indication that Horner is doing something on those lines, that there have been talks. The only rumors were with Russell and they are done.
Mm-hmm.
I think when it comes to Mercedes, I think what Toto has done is Toto has told that Max is the one with which the conversations have happened and maybe he might come. Toto needs to take a call on whether it's going to be Kimi or
I think George. It's going to be Max George now.
I don't think so.
I do. I think that's why George is all smirky and smiley. I think he knows it's going to be him. I think he's
smirky and smiley because he knows that Carlos not going to Red Bull, one of the biggest reasons was Max. Max didn't want him there because he didn't get along with him in Toro Rosso. And if Max has a say in who is going to be his teammate, it's probably
going to go
for Kimi.
Yeah, and ruin Kimi's career, unfortunately.
Who knows? 2007 Fernando Alonso.
2014 Vettel. You know?
Yeah, Vettel and
Ricardo. Yeah.
You never know what happens.
Everyone expected Vettel to destroy, like, not to destroy Ricardo, but nobody expected Ricardo to destroy Vettel that year. Yeah. Nobody called that.
Yeah.
I do still find it funny of the people are like like Verstappen's the next Schumacher, and like, you know, Vettel was nowhere near that. And I'm like, you clearly weren't watching in 2013 because everyone expected the same thing.
There are only two groups of people that don't think Vettel was anything, and those two groups of people are Lewis Hamilton fans and Alonso fans. And probably the least
people who weren't watching at the time.
Yeah. So yeah, these are the three groups. And anyways, if I'm Horner right now, if I have to sit down, because look, he's been trying his damnedest that maybe Max stays, and he's still quite belligerent when he's talking to the media that there's a contract, we have an understanding with Max. But I see through all the BS, and I find it hard to actually, you know, believe whatever he's saying. So when it comes to that, I think it's eminent that we hear probably by the end of next week, which is going to be the British Grand Prix. We're going to hear something. But yeah, let's see. If I'm Horner, I'm calling both George and Leclerc and basically selling them the.
I am guessing Horner is going to try and like basically say no, like I'm not talking to anyone until you make your decision, Max. Like we're betting on you first, which is probably short-sighted, but I could see the thinking in it of like you want to just play the home card, like we're hoping Max just stays, you know, like, and we'll see. But yeah. Honestly, I think if Max leaves, Horner's got bigger problems than the drivers to deal with first off anyway, you know. But I think the problem is, who do you get? Because Charles is the ideal solution. George is a great one. I think the problem is, as you said, George probably doesn't go there. Maybe he does. Maybe it's a case of like, what better options do I have? I know there's Aston Martin, obviously, but I mean, in terms of just like, who do I pick out of the teams right now? Like Red Bull's the only,
right?
Yeah.
There's Red Bull and Aston Martin. And
I think Charles won't want to throw in the towel on Ferrari until 2026, which is probably a stupid decision, but I think he's probably going to give them...
He's made far too many stupid decisions already in his career, so...
He's probably going to give them the kind of the final, like, I'm not going to give up on you before the change type of thing, which is stupidity, to be honest, but yeah.
Yeah, and that's it, yeah.
I'm hoping it's Max and George, so... I really want it to be Max and George.
If it is Max and George, it will be fun at least. I mean, that's the biggest thing.
The thing is, like, for the first season there, we'll actually get to see how good George is. Because at the moment, there isn't any like in play of like, oh, George just wrangles the whole team to his side type of thing. George is a team player, and it'll take at least a season for the Verstappens to kind of start moving the best people to his side.
Yeah.
So we'll actually get to see like, okay, how good is George?
If George is in the car next season and Max joins, Max will start the season at a deficit. For sure.
Yeah.
You have to assume that
and no one will want to believe that. So they'll all be like, oh, well, it's just Mercedes sabotaging Verstappen.
Yeah. I don't know.
Because people are morons. But like it'll be interesting.
I don't know.
Yeah.